Joining me now from Lancaster, New York is Eric Williams. He's a professor in the Department of Sustainability at the Rochester Institute of Technology. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, we heard in that report there nearly 54 million tons of e-scrap generated last year alone, with Asia producing the lion's share. Why is the problem so great there? Is it just population numbers?
Well, Asia has a lot of e-waste, and partly it's generated domestically, and partly it's coming in from other parts of the world. And yes, I think there's a big factor is that the region is getting wealthy, and also that most of the world's manufacturing electronics is there. That also makes it cheaper for consumers there, which means that these consumers are buying and then throwing away electronics.
Right. So only about a sixth of e-waste currently is collected and recycled. What's China's report card grade when it comes to e-waste?
So in the past, China was a hub for international e-waste, accepting waste from many countries, and then informal or backyard recyclers were processing it. China banned informal recycling and imports of e-waste some years ago, and then they constructed an official recycling system domestically. For some years, this official system wasn't used much, and apparently the imports and informal recycling continued. But I hear from Chinese colleagues that the situation has changed and that informal recycling is in decline. So even so, it's hard to know exactly how much is going on, but it looks like the formal system is working well.
Now, we often hear with electronics that, it's often cheaper to buy new than fix. How do we change this culture?
To buy new, to buy and fix. So, and actually, I think that we're looking actually at an age of increasing interest in fixing electronics. If you look at there's websites such as ifixit.com, and now if you go to YouTube, there are many videos that help people. They spread the knowledge on how to reuse electronics more easily. And so, on one hand, you do have the factor of the new electronics becoming cheaper, but you have the opposing factor of a spreading of knowledge of reuse. And we're seeing more interest in individual reuse, at least in the US.
Do manufacturers share in the blame? Because so much of these electronics these days have such short shelf life.
Well, I think a lot of the electronics, they last much longer than physically in terms of their function than consumers are interested in. And so a lion's share of the issue has to do with consumers wanting to replace things very often. At the same time, manufacturers often do make it hard to repair things. Sometimes parts are not available. Sometimes they have proprietary constraints on what you can do with your device. And so there is a role of manufacturers there to make it easier to repair and reuse devices.